What's going on, guys? Nathan Olson here from yourcharisma.com, helping you create your brand your way. On this channel, we do a lot of social media marketing help as well as Instagram tips. So if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. Today, we're going to be specifically talking about the single variable to success when you're doing online marketing, how creative is really just the construct that you guys need to be focusing on. So stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. So today specifically we're going to be talking about how creative is the single variable to success in online marketing and how it is the construct that you guys should be focusing a lot of your attention and a lot of your money on. And you know, what is creative when we're talking about it? Creative is essentially the ad copy, the overall script, maybe an advertisement, a video, a photo, anything you use in order to generate traffic or to use in your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, your Google PPC, Amazon PPC, etc. And really that is what matters most because it's what is doing the introduction to your brand, to your target audience. And the more creative content that you start putting out there and the more targeted you start making it, you're going to see a very higher resolution in your ROI. You're going to see a dramatic increase, especially as you start to get it to become more segmented and more specific to each individual user. We're going to talk about that more, but what I kind of want to go over is just if you guys watch the Super Bowl, which is the American, football, absolutely national type of sporting event, this is a great place to understand what the current large-scale brands are doing for creative, and it really gives you a good insight onto what type of content is possibly converting highestly in, let's say, the advertising world. And specifically, when I was reviewing all the Super Bowl 2019 commercials, a major theme that I was seeing between all of them, especially with high-end brands like Mercedes, Audi, Planters Peanut, even Olay was in there, is they moved away from, let's say, very standoffish positions. For example, like saying mine is better or yours is worse, really laying out the features of the product. And instead what they did is they spun those features into a funny commercial aspect. And that's something that I feel like a lot of brands and businesses don't spend enough time doing, is turning their features into something that's comedic or even, has some humor in it. Because one thing that was a problem with the Super Bowl that happened this year is that it was one of the lowest scoring games in Super Bowl history. And what that meant is a lot of people weren't paying drastic amounts of attention specifically to the game. So in order to, catch their eye and make them, I guess, more in tune, it's important that your creative is not only, eye capturing, but it's also keeps the individual involved. And what I saw a lot is just, absolute comedy. The one with specifically for Walmart, it was a drive up. Walmart was showcasing a new feature where they come out and they deliver goods directly to your car. You just order ahead of time and they walk out to your car and deliver your groceries. And what was funny about this is that they used a lot of superhero, commercial, not superhero, but maybe like famous cartoon, like they had Batman in there, they had Knight Rider, the car from Knight Rider, they had Herbie, they had Bumblebee from Transformers, and they used a lot of cars from famous, cartoons, movies, all this stuff. Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine was in there, and that really tied back to the actual audience because us growing up, those were some of the things that are really touched on a lot of us. For example, Mystery Machine was my era. Batman, the new Dark Knight Batman, Batmobile is more the era maybe 5-10 years ahead of mine. And then Knight Rider is something that would be my parents' generation. So they were able to hit multi-generational pieces of content or actual individuals or entities from those time spans that related very well back to the audience. And they were able to showcase this same feature. And the way they made it really funny is that Ghostbusters, it's a famous movie in here, and they had the ghosts from the actual original movie that was coming through and sliming everybody. It was doing the same thing in the Walmart commercial, and that was really funny. It caught back, it brought you back to those times when you were watching that video, and it struck a lot of emotions and reminiscence. And that's what, Walmart's trying to bring to them. It's trying to bring like this is what we do, it's a funny way of showing how we do this. And I that really resonated with me, and a lot of the funny commercials are something that's going to stay memorable. And what's really interesting is that people are going to talk about it. One of the biggest things, especially if a sports event is extremely boring, a lot of people are going to talk about the commercials that maybe they thought were funniest or, that had the biggest impact on them. And a lot of them were absolutely, hysterical. And I thought it was extremely interesting the way they spun their specific features. Speaking about Olay, the skin beauty care line, actually used, hashtag killer skin as their basis for this script. And what they did is they had an individual, it was set in a scary type of movie setting, flashing lightning, dark night. And then, this killer was coming in and it made it seem like the individual was going to be attacked. But what really happened is that, she couldn't unlock her phone because her phone couldn't recognize her face because her skin had improved so much by using Olay. And, it's funny that they were able to construct it in that manner, tell it in a scary movie, but at the same time, tell the audience, hey, like if you use this product, your skin's going to get so good that your iPhone won't actually recognize you. And that's something that's absolutely extremely powerful. And it's something that we need to be incorporating more so. So I've actually been taking some time, and what I'm going to try and do is put up a script together specifically for my business that uses a comedic factor in order to shoot maybe a new commercial. And what's really interesting is commercials don't need to take, a vast amount of money or, a crazy amount of capital in order to hire actors to do specific commercials. It could be as simple as, you and a camera just shooting a quick commercial with you and your buddies and just showcasing, maybe doing a voiceover. There's a lot of interesting ways to do it on a very, very low budget. The only reason that, these ads are at this scale is because they're able to, it's about $5 million for 30 seconds on the Super Bowl runtime. And not only that, if you're spending $5 million on your, actual runtime, you're going to invest heavily in the advertisement itself, reaching out to actors as well as other celebrities to start promoting your product. And it was really interesting the amount of celebrities that were incorporated into it, and it was really interesting. Almost, I would say 90% of the commercials that were showcased on the Super Bowl were meant to be funny and were meant to invoke humor, and that's something that I feel like is very important to pay attention to, because laughter, energy, and positivity is what is selling right now. A lot of brands, I feel like, are not being extremely bold in the way that they're doing certain advertisements, specifically because society is in such a temperamental state where anything you say can and will be used against you, whether it's legal or not. The social media has given it the power to just absolutely destroy careers based off, history and other type of content that is put out there. That is directly linked to the brand. There's just a lot of people that take offense nowadays, and it's important to, overcome that in a way that still delivers the content, still keeps the audience involved. But, the way brands have figured out how to get around that is just through specific comedy. And I think that is extremely important. And I think you guys need to start focusing more on creative, especially when you're trying to start a brand, because you're trying to create a market for yourself. And the only way you can do that is by reaching out to individuals. And the only way you can do that is by having compelling creative. And creative is something that, so many people try to paint a vanilla picture. But for example, when we're talking about, let's say, a fitness product or a fitness line. So there are fitness companies out there that produce specific products, but within those, there's bodybuilders, there's CrossFitters, there's, yoga junkies, there's runners, there's HIIT workout type of individuals, and all of them incorporate different types of training styles, which means they require different types of training equipment, gear, knowledge, and etc. So it's important that you create specific content to market to those people that resonates well with them. So let's say, for example, you create a bodybuilding style commercial. You would not want to show that to someone that is interested in either calisthenics or yoga, just specifically because it's not going to, impact them in the same manner as would a calisthenics video or a calisthenics celebrity or a yoga celebrity coming in and talking specifically to them, through a commercial or an advertisement style. And it's important that we create a wide variety of diverse content that is both creative and engaging in order to start, getting more leads in, getting more traffic, and start resonating with more people. It's all about staying memorable, and the way you do that is just by putting out a vast amount of content. And the real problem right now is that for a lot of industries and businesses, when they want to create a specific commercial, they're investing way too much time, energy, and money into it, and that's what's actually stopping them from being able to put out a vast amount of content. It does take a specific amount of planning, but if you have a sole team dedicated to creative, maybe producing 1-2 commercials a month, you'd be able to really see how your investment in that creative is actually going to go a lot farther, because the content will find people, and different people resonate with different styles of speaking. You can deliver the same message maybe 1,001 ways, and every time you deliver it, it's going to hit someone differently, because maybe this time they heard that specific word, or this person told it a different way that just made it a little bit more concise, or this person really drawed it out and I really resonated with that. So there's 1,000,001 different ways that you can get across a message. It's all about just creating a wide variety that's going to touch each different demographic differently, and that's just important to just factor in. So this just goes back to understanding your target audience, to a very specific degree, and not only that, to take your target audience and maybe break it down into different demographics and understand what really impacts each one of those absolute demographics, and how you can start incorporating that type of creative or that type of style into your creative, and start testing different styles of content. Facebook and Instagram and Google absolutely have fantastic ways for you to do split testing, measuring landing page views, measuring landing page opt-ins, and other styles of that form. And that's just something you guys really need to focus on. There's a lot of businesses and brands out there that are specifically trying to dedicate a lot of capital to specifically advertising, in the form of putting money, increasing the budget for Facebook ads, but they're not spending enough time creating different types of content where they could spend maybe $5 a day on 10 different ads and get a much higher ROI, or a much higher CTR, or even like a cost per acquisition, just by creating those different styles of content, rather than just flooding $50 or $70 a day into one specific content. And what's interesting about this is that you can actually take those 10 pieces of creative, find out which one works best, and then increase the budget from there. So when you find something that works, you just want to dump money into it, because that's what's working right now. And until it stops working, don't stop feeding it. If you want something to grow, you got to feed it. And if you figured out something that works and you cut it off, it's not really going to be conducive to your business, and it's really not going to be helpful in your overall growing and branding. So this is just a little tip that I really wanted to stress to you guys. I was watching over the Super Bowl commercials because I was just doing a little bit of knowledge and understanding myself about the current markets, and I just wanted to share some of those thoughts with you guys. So hopefully that it resonates to you, and you can start thinking about different ways to create short commercials, 30 to 60 seconds. You can tell so much of a story in about 30 to 60 seconds. You'd be surprised. But that's just coming back to it. You gotta spend a massive amount of time on creative. If you're not a creative person like that, you can find people that are creative like that would be more than happy to shoot a commercial for your product, or for your service, or for your brand. It just takes the time to reach out to those individuals, and a great place to find individuals like that is actually on influencer marketing platforms like Your Influencer. You'll be able to find a wide variety of influencers that have a massive set of creative skills, and they would be more than happy to incorporate your product or service into their overall, creative side. And, you can really strike up very long-standing relationships on that platform. Conversely, if you want to find, maybe specifically a creative style type of content creator, you can, use type of platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, and just do some searching on the internet. But I strongly am trying to tell you guys to really invest in your creative. There's too much vanilla out there, and some people like a scoop of chocolate, strawberry, or even like, Rocky Road. You have to get diverse with it, and that's absolutely the epitome of what I'm trying to, convey to you guys. And I hope that really has resonated well. I would implore you to take some time. If there's about 30 minutes worth of commercials, just go through on YouTube and just watch the Super Bowl 2019 commercials, and you'll have a great laugh out of it. A lot of them are extremely funny. I had a kick out of watching all of them, but it just made me think about how easy I could create a simple commercial that maybe isn't the specific setting for my actual product, but I can incorporate it to impact someone that likes that setting, but also would be interested in my product. And I've got a lot of creative ideas floating around, so I'm gonna put some of them to work, and I hope you guys do too. So stay tuned for the next video.